How much does YouTube pay you? Do you really eat those desserts? What were the steps of making your own books? What's up guys, and welcome to today's video. Today's video is a little bit different because we're gonna be doing a Q&A. So I asked you guys to ask me a lot of questions on Instagram and on YouTube as well. And you guys literally asked me hundreds of questions. So I'm actually really excited for this, although I do kind of feel like I'm being interviewed / interrogated with this setup. But Bernie's put a load of the questions on the phone here, so let's get into it. My first question is, what is your name and where are you from? My name is Eloise and I'm from the UK. Next question. What was your inspiration to do what you're doing? I love your videos, thank you so much. And also, this is a similar question. What inspired you to start baking and sharing your recipes online? I have always enjoyed baking. I always used to bake with my great auntie when I was really young. My mum and dad would drop me and my sister off at hers when they would go to work, and we would just cook with her and bake with her. So I think that's where my love for baking started, but I didn't actually start sharing my recipes until the beginning of lockdown in 2020. And my inspiration for that was literally lockdown. So because everyone was at home, I wanted to give people something to do. I needed to also entertain myself, and I just thought I'd always wanted to share my recipes online, so it just seems like the perfect opportunity. Okay, how many years did it take for your content to be recognized? I started Fitwaffle, as in like my original presence on social media. I was taking photos of food at restaurants. I started that in 2015. I feel like I was stuck at something like 3,000 followers for like months. I don't even know. I feel like the timeline is kind of blurred in my head, but that took a while. So 2015 to 2020, I gained around 300,000 followers on Instagram. And I didn't really have a YouTube at that point. I had posted like some vlogs, but I wasn't really consistent with them. I had started posting to TikTok a little bit at the start of lockdown, but again, I wasn't consistent. I think maybe I had around 100,000 followers on there, but it wasn't until the start of lockdown, that's when my content really started to take off. And I feel like that's when I found my thing. You know, when I actually started posting my recipes online and I guess like really giving value to people, or I hope I give value to people anyway. You know, that's when I feel like my content really started getting recognized. And I was literally posting every day, you know, sometimes twice or 3 times a day at the beginning. It's also when I started my Fitwaffle Kitchen Instagram page. So I would say that's when my content really started getting recognized, was at the beginning of lockdown. So around like summer of 2020. What were the steps of making your own books? In, I think it was November of 2020, so not literally that long after I'd started posting recipes, I was actually reached out to by, I guess, like a book scout. I was then introduced to a literary agent who then helped me create an idea for my first book, and then she pitched it out to a load of the biggest publishers in the UK, because that's basically what her job is. And I went into a 7-way auction with like 7 of the biggest publishers in the UK who were pretty much bidding to make a book with me, which was such a surreal experience, but that was basically how I got my book deal. So yeah, it was pretty insane, to be honest. But yeah, I've done 3 books now, so crazy. Oh, okay, this one follows on. Gonna be sweet if more recipes are on their way to the cookbook. Do you mean like a book 4? What's your favorite dessert ever? I love banoffee pie. I don't know what it is about it. I love the combination of the fruitiness and the caramelly toffiness and the cream and the base. I just think banoffee pie is just an amazing dessert. In regards to like one of my favorite things that I've made, I really like my cinnamon apple cake. That's one of the best things that I believe that I have made. Okay, we have some business questions now. Are you a full-time influencer? I guess you could call me an influencer, yes, but I would say now I'm more of a full-time author because a lot of my time is taken up with writing the books, developing recipes for the books, and then obviously like promoting the books and stuff like that. Obviously, I did start as an influencer, so I left my job in the summer of 2019 and I was actually running social media accounts for restaurants. So that's what allowed me to quit my job as a personal trainer. Now, obviously, I create a lot of recipes and write books too. Do you think of baking is more work or fun? It's a combination. So I would say, because it literally is my full-time job, it's 100% work. But if I'm not filming what I'm baking, then it feels more like fun. Like when I made my birthday cake and I literally just like switched on my phone, I put it there, but I wasn't really focused on what the camera was doing, like what was happening on the camera. I was just focused on making my birthday cake. I would have classed that as more fun, but then the stuff I do where I'm actually teaching a recipe and like how to bake, then that is more like work because that's what I do as my job. How do you stay motivated and inspired to create new content consistently? And another similar question, how can you get motivated to do all that baking? I love to bake, but very rarely do due to lack of motivation too. I would say I'm not always motivated, and I think it's the same with anything. I don't think you can be consistently motivated all the time for years and years and years. I think motivation comes and goes, but I think motivation is different to being consistent. I think you can be consistent without being motivated, and that just relies on a bit of willpower, a bit of good habits, which I don't always have. Let's just throw that out there. Sometimes you got to do it when you don't want to do it, basically. Just like going to the gym. This next question says, everyone has something they love doing except for me. I'm 18 years old and still don't know what my passion is. So my question for you is, how did you know that baking was what you wanted to do for a living? Extra question, and how do you always enjoy it so much? Do you ever have times where you think maybe you could be doing something else instead? When I was 18 years old, I did not have a clue what I wanted to do. And I don't think you need to know what you want to do at 18 years old. So at 18 years old, I was doing my personal training course at college. Almost all of my friends had gone to university. I didn't go to university because I didn't know what to do or what I wanted to do. I didn't know what subject I would pick. I didn't know what I wanted to do later on in life. I literally didn't have a clue. You will find what you want to do along the way. You really don't need to know what it is now. How did you know that baking was what you wanted to do for a living? I didn't, to be totally honest. I just didn't. I mean, I'm 30 now, and when I was 26, when I started posting my recipes to social media, and even then, when I started posting them, I didn't know if it was gonna be a long-term thing. I was just posting my recipes. Like, it could have been a complete fail. And the extra question was, how do you always enjoy it so much? Do you ever have times where you think maybe you could be doing something else instead? Yes. Sometimes I think, why am I working what feels like 24/7? That's one thing that I really struggle with working for myself. So this is the first time I've ever been self-employed and actually run my own business. I see funny memes that I totally relate to. Working for yourself isn't choosing your hours, it's basically working all the time. If I come home at 10 o'clock at night and I've got a video to edit, I will edit that video, maybe until 1 a.m. It's very hard to relax. Sometimes the grass always looks greener. I know people sometimes look at my job and think that it's like the perfect job, it's the most fun in the world, but sometimes people in my position also would look at someone else and think exactly the same. Next question. If you could, would you open your own bakery or cafe? Love your videos, you are just amazing. Thank you so much. I don't know is the answer to that, because sometimes I go into really cool bakeries and I think, I would love to own something like this. You know, like the really cute cafes or the ones that are really like quirky. I think it would be really cool to open a bakery or cafe like that. But I've actually worked in cafes before, and it's not all sunshines and rainbows. I don't actually think I'd want to work in the cafe. Maybe I'd like to create the concept for it and then employ people that did want to work in a cafe. What is your zodiac sign and when did you start your first YouTube video? I am an Aries. Oh my gosh, Bernie, do you know? When was our first ever YouTube video? Okay, Bernie thinks it was about 2016 and it was a vlog. Oh my God, I don't even think I could watch it back. It's probably so cringy. But it was like a travel vlog that I think I did in Florida. It was a long time ago, but like I said, I wasn't consistent with YouTube back in the day and I wish I had been. You know, hindsight is a wonderful thing, but I wish I'd been consistent and I just wasn't. But yeah, that's when I first started. And that was on my Fitwaffle channel, not my Fitwaffle Kitchen channel. My Fitwaffle Kitchen channel I started in 2020, December 2020, I think. How did you start your YouTube business? With what equipment, what investment at the beginning? Was it hard to start? And a similar question, what were some of the challenges you had when you first started YouTube? To actually start my Fitwaffle Kitchen channel, so to do recipe videos, because I assume that's sort of what you're talking about, because I would say to vlog, you literally need a phone. Like you can literally start a YouTube video with a phone and some form of basic editing software and you can create a vlog. With the food stuff, it's a little bit more because I wanted 2 camera angles. So I wanted one that faced me, one that faced the food, some light so I could light the food properly and everything. So that takes a little bit more of investment. And then just ingredients in general takes a little bit of investment, but nothing has to be crazy expensive. You know, you don't need the best camera or the best lighting. You just need to make do with what you've got. Because to be honest, like your videos at the beginning, they're probably not going to get many views and you're probably not going to make any money from them. So you have to start somewhere and then you can just improve and you can make your videos better. I would say as long as the audio is good and the lighting is good and your video is somewhat entertaining, then it's a good place to start. Okay, next question. How much does YouTube pay you? And how long did it take to start earning money on your channel? Rough guy would be nice, thank you. And a similar question, today, can you live from your work on YouTube videos? And if so, from what moment? So what I would say to this question is, I think as a creator, it's really important that you have multiple streams of income. So with me and my husband, obviously basically living off the same income through Fitwaffle, I wouldn't say that YouTube is enough to earn a living with what we do alone. So that's why it's really important to have multiple revenue streams. For example, Facebook for me actually earns more than YouTube does. I also have brand deals. I obviously have my books. I have Snapchat. We talked about it the other day and I think we have something like 7 different streams of income. If you're relying on one single revenue stream as a creator, I think that's silly. Okay, we're moving on to some personal questions. How's married life? Are y'all planning to add to your family? I love the word y'all, by the way. Like, I feel like I can't say it as a British person, but I think it's just a great word. Married life is great. To be totally honest, it doesn't feel any different to non-married life, except for when I fill out forms, I write married or Mrs. And are y'all planning to add to your family? At some point, yes. I just don't know when. So moving on. How do you keep your skin so beautiful? Thank you, I appreciate that. To be totally honest, I am really lucky with my skin. Like touch wood, because it could just change at any point. But so far in my life, I've just been really lucky that I have generally quite clear skin. My parents both have really good skin, so I've just been really lucky. I try to take care of it, but I don't have any like crazy skincare routine or anything like that. I just try and sort of use basic kind of minimal products. I am hoping or kind of scared to introduce retinol. It is retinol, isn't it? At some point, because I'm getting older and I want to keep my skin nice. Okay, next question. Besides baking, what is your other favorite hobby? And then a similar question, what sport do you play? I really enjoy the gym. I just enjoy being active in general. So as sad as it might sound, my other hobby is going to the gym or just walking. What sport do you play? I don't play any sports currently. I feel like I get injured whenever I play sports, to be totally honest. But from the age of about 6, I did gymnastics, and I did that for about 10 years. I also did a lot of dance when I was younger. So I did ballet for about 12 years. I always enjoyed doing stuff like netball. I also enjoyed doing like athletics. Basically, like PE was my favorite subject at school, like PE and dance. So I always enjoyed sport when I was a kid. If finances were not a problem ever again, what would your dream daily life be like? Ooh, I'd probably move to a hot country, go to the beach, go in the pool every day. Basically, I wouldn't work. I'd just go out and enjoy myself until I decided that I wanted to do something. How's your leg doing? Are you still in LA? A background love story on you and Bernie. And another similar question, do a love life story. Thank you for asking about my leg. If you guys have been following my vlogs on my Fitwaffle channel at all, you'll know that I've basically had trouble with my hamstrings recently. I think I have hamstring tendonitis, and they're doing a lot better. Although just recently I did aggravate them again playing basketball. So I'm nursing them back to health again, but I think it's gonna be a long process. But are you still in LA? Yes, I am at this current moment. And the background story, I'll try and keep this as quick as possible. I actually met Bernie at the gym. I was working as a personal trainer at the time, and he was a member. The story that he will tell is that I came up to him and said, I want to be strong. And he knew a lot about strength and conditioning, and I was a new personal trainer, so I basically wanted to learn from him. And he taught me about strength and conditioning and powerlifting, and he basically trained me for like a year or so. We were basically best friends for about a year until we actually got into a relationship. And then Bernie basically got his own apartment, and I moved myself in within about a week. So yeah, and we've now been together for 10 years. We've been married for one and a half years now. Do you have any siblings? Yes, I have one sister who is 2 years younger than me. Do you have any pets, and would you ever make treats for them? I don't have any pets of my own right now. I grew up with cats and dogs and guinea pigs and rabbits and hamsters and lots of different pets. I absolutely love animals. I can't have a pet at the moment. I travel quite a bit and my job just doesn't really allow it, but also my apartment currently doesn't allow it either. But as soon as I am in a position where I can get a dog or even just a cat, I will, because I would love that. What was your favorite subjects in school? I think I said this. I've answered a question before even reading the question. I really enjoyed dance and PE. Do you know how to draw? I also took art. I am actually rubbish at drawing. Like maybe I would get better if I practiced, but at this moment in time, I don't think I would be a very good drawer at all. What's your favorite thing to do in summer? I love going to the beach. I love going for evening walks. I like going in the sea. I like going in the pool. I just love summer. Summer is my favorite month. What's an overhyped candy in your opinion? Brackets, Twix, Snickers, Hershey's, you name it. I don't like Hershey's, to be totally honest. I like the Hershey's cookies and cream bar, but the actual chocolate to me does not taste good. I also think M&Ms are slightly overhyped. I like them in desserts, but I don't like them on their own unless they're peanut butter M&Ms. Peanut butter M&Ms I think are amazing. And my mum really likes salted caramel M&Ms, but I've never tried those, but I trust her opinion. I also think Starbursts are slightly overrated. I prefer Chewits. I actually really like High Chew now as well. This is a new sweet that I've tried recently. The strawberry ones are amazing. These next questions are about California and the USA, one of my favorite topics. Your favorite tourist place in LA to visit? One of the places that I absolutely love is a place called Getty Villa. It's a really beautiful, like, old villa, and the grounds are just really cool, and it's also just a really peaceful place as well. So if you want a pretty peaceful place to go around and just explore and take pictures, then I would recommend Getty Villa. I also, on this trip, I did a few waterfall hikes, which were amazing. Another place which I've just thought of in my head as one of my favorite places, you can see all of this in my vlogs on my other channel, by the way, if you want to know anything more about them, is a place in Arcadia, and I'm going to say this wrong. I think it's called the Arboretum. Maybe I'll write it on screen. But again, it's like a beautiful area that you can walk around and take pictures, and there's loads of peacocks there as well. I think peacocks are incredible. So if you want to see some peacocks just roaming around, then I'd recommend it. Do you prefer food/snacks in the US or in the UK? Ooh. So I think my mind is slightly warped by this question, because when I come to the US, everything is fun and new and I can't have it all the time. So therefore I want it more. Like, for example, there's an ice cream at the moment that I absolutely love. It's the McConnell's sea salt cream and cookies. It's incredible. Like, I think it's the best ice cream ever. And then you've got some really cool snacks over here. Like, what else do I really like? Nerds gummy clusters. Oh my gosh, they're so good. But then I also think our snacks in the UK are pretty great. Like, you don't have prawn cocktail Wotsits over here, and prawn cocktail Wotsits are really good. Which state in America is your favorite? I'm probably gonna say California. The reason I say California is I feel like it has everything, and I feel like it's so vast. Like, San Francisco is so different to LA, and LA is so different to San Diego, and then Yosemite is in California. You have some incredible places in California. You know, it's not just LA, it's not just the beaches, it's not just the city. You've got the mountains, you've got waterfalls here. It's just a really beautiful place. So I also love Florida, but it doesn't offer as much as California does, in my opinion, like natural beauty wise. Have you moved to the USA permanently? No, I haven't. If I wanted to move to the USA permanently, then I would have to get a visa. I would have to go through a whole application process, and they would tell me whether I would be allowed to live here or not. And I'm pretty sure if I did get a visa, it would only be for 3 years, and then we have to reapply. So no, I haven't. What has been the best and worst part about living in LA rather than the UK? So like I just said, I'm not living here, so it's hard to compare because I've lived in the UK for my entire life. But I would say the one thing about LA is it's so expensive. I think Bernie looked it up the other day. The average house price in LA is something like $900,000, which is just wild. And all the groceries are really expensive. Gas is really expensive. It's just a very, very expensive place to live. This next question is about health and fitness. So it says, I'm sure you get it a lot. How do you stay so fit? Do you calorie count at all? And another similar question, do you track your macros or just kind of eat what you feel? I could literally do an entire video on this one question, but I'm gonna try keep it short. So I used to count calories and macros. I did it for years, but I haven't tracked them in probably about 7 years. So now I just try and eat a balanced diet. I don't believe there is a perfect diet. I think that looks different for everybody. To be totally honest, I just eat how I feel now. With the knowledge that I've built up about nutrition, I know what's in my food. I know that I should eat a good amount of protein. I know I should eat fiber. I know I should get my nutrients from fruits and vegetables, but I also don't restrict myself. As someone that has had a poor relationship with food, that just doesn't work for me. So I can do a whole video on this topic if you want, but let's move on to the next questions because there's quite a few health and fitness questions in here. So the next question is, it's actually 3 questions grouped into one here. Do you eat all of your desserts? What do you do with the leftovers? Do you really eat those desserts, or are you just making them? You're too fit to be a dessert queen. And how many times do you bake a week? This question always makes me laugh, because when someone asks me, do you eat all your desserts? Do you mean, do I eat an entire cheesecake or an entire tray of brownies? Or do you mean, do I just eat one slice? Because the answer to the first bit is no, but the answer to the second bit is yes. So I will always try or have a slice of what I make, because A, I need to try it to make sure it tastes good. Otherwise, why would I put the recipe out there? And it's like the best part. I really enjoy dessert. Like, I really enjoy sweet food. So for me, eating it after I've made it is like the best part. What do you do with the leftovers? So I live in an apartment building, so I'll give it to my neighbors, I'll give it to my landlord, I'll give it to my friends and family as well. So it always gets spread around nicely. Oh, and of course, my husband eats a lot. I've said this before, but if I make a loaf cake, like a lemon loaf or a banana bread, I will be lucky if I get more than 2 slices, because Bernie will literally eat the entire cake within a couple of days. And the how many times do you bake a week? So this might surprise some people, because I feel like some people think I bake a lot more than I actually do. But currently I bake around 1 to 2 times a week. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, depending on what I've got going on. But yeah, on average it's about 2 times, and I'm also trying to make more savory recipes at the moment as well. What got you into fitness and wanting to be a personal trainer? Ooh, so when I quit gymnastics, I started going to the gym, and I kind of just fell in love with it. I wanted to get stronger. I wanted to direct my passion from gymnastics into something else, and I really got into weightlifting. So that's what inspired me to do my personal training course. I also always liked the idea of teaching as well. So when I was at college, I thought I might actually want to be a college teacher at one point, until I found out that people that were teachers didn't really enjoy being teachers. So I loved my personal training course, and I decided to go into personal training after that. I knew it wasn't going to be a forever job for me, but that's a whole other story that I probably don't need to get into right now. Next question. How do you stay in such great shape? What training do you do? And another similar question, could I know what's your workout split? Trying to get into a better, more effective routine. Okay, so the whole how do you stay in such great shape thing, I balance my intake with my output. So I'm quite a generally active person anyway. I spend most of my days on my feet. I tend to go to the gym about 4 times a week on average, and then I'll walk as well. I tend to weightlift because that's what I enjoy, and I also have slight injuries that stops me from doing high intensive exercise. So I don't run, for example. I also don't do loads of sprints or high intensity active classes, because long story short, I've had problems with my knees since I was about 19 years old. So I basically do what I enjoy and what supports my goals and what works for me. But what I would say about getting into a better routine and a more effective routine, it's figure out what your goals are, whether that's, improving your overall health and fitness, whether that's weight loss, weight gain, muscle gain. I had a goal of muscle gain and weight gain for quite a long time, and I weight trained and I did powerlifting and I tried Olympic lifting and all of these different things. I've gone through so many different phases of fitness in my life that I think the best advice I could give is to do something that you enjoy and that you can be consistent with. Milk before cereal or cereal before milk? I'm sorry, who puts milk before cereal? That is psychopathic behavior. Cereal, then milk. Bernie, what do? You're cereal, then milk, aren't you? Bernie soaks his cereal until it's like mush, which is also psychopathic behavior. So guys, that is all the questions that I have today. If there are any other questions or anything you want me to expand on, ask them in the comments below and maybe I'll do another video on this. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.